r/AskReddit by Reddit and chill. Serious, people of Reddit, what's your if I'm going down I'm taking you with me story? Super simple. But I am notorious in my friend group of having a fear of water. I'm okay in pools since you can, hopefully, see the bottom, but even shallow lakes, rivers and oceans are a no-go for me. Some friends ended up renting a boat and wanted to take it out on the lake and begged me to come out. I kept telling them no way in hell would I ever willingly go out and sit in the middle of a lake. Finally I caved because I dunno. They were friends and really wanted me to go. Someone said it could really help me face my fears. Even though I didn't plan on getting in the water. I'm not going to wear jeans to the sunny beach, so I left my wallet, keys, and phone in the car. Within 10 minutes of getting to the middle of the lake, Buddy, who suggested I face my fears, and I think his brother, asked me if I got the time. I shrug and tell them I left my phone back in my car. They both lunge at me and start throwing me overboard. I latch on for dear life and fight as if the river is lava, because to me it essentially is. I eventually realize I'm 100% going over and there is nothing I can do except let go of the railing I was gripping onto and instead grab them both as I pulled back and forced all three of us into the water. Getting back on the boat was easy. It had a little ramp and ladder for climbing in out, and you can bet your ass I was the first climbing back up. The brothers got mad at me because they had their phones in their pockets and I ruined them. But everyone quickly pointed out that they pushed me in the water knowing I hated it and that they deserved it. They argued that they intentionally tried to make sure I didn't have anything electronic on me, but everyone shut them down. They were allowed back on the boat when they apologized. My friend apologized and I actually did chip in to help him get a new phone later. But his brother swam back to shore and got even more upset and demanded I help him with his new phone since I helped his brother. But he didn't feel bad or think he did anything wrong, so duck that guy. Nup. Duck em both. Even if you didn't have crippling thalassophobia. Pranks like that can get dangerous so fast. They should consider themselves lucky they didn't get their asses kicked. Besides, if they were dumb enough to get pulled in with their phones when they started it, they had it coming. I was rock climbing and this guy who was my belayer for the day was kinned off a dong. Well, no surprise. Dongwood spends most of his time flirting with a cute girl who is friendly but seriously not into him. He gets chewed out by our lead for not paying attention, which means he continues to not pay attention as he is incapable of picking up cues. Well, there's me, 25 feet or so off the ground with my rope slack and feeling my hands slipping because I'm just running out of steam. Now, having told him 3 times to pick up the slack, I look down and see he's completely ignoring me to chat with this girl again. My mistake was looking down. As I reach to readjust my weakening hold and slip, the rope shoots out of his limb, sausage-like fingers, and I began to fall. I know a properly tied off rope shouldn't do that. I don't know how he ducked that up too. My only thought is if I'm going to fall, I'll damn well land on him. Well, I did. I landed straight on his cushy a-hole body. I was barely injured. He was taken to hospital after having 80 odd kilos land on him from 2 stories up. I never happened to see him at that rock climbing club again. You took the going down quite literally here. Funny how little say we have with institutions we give thousands of dollars to. There's something about healthcare that, like religion, attracts sociopaths. I can count on 2 fingers the number of decent managers I had in 25 years as a nurse. When I was in 8th grade, we had to create a presentation on a book we had just read, including a skit from one of the scenes. Here's the best part: we were forced to work in groups. Being an introvert, I hate group work. What I hate even more is when your group mates don't do their work. The day we were assigned the project, we decided to divvy up the slides equally. It was a Google Slides, so we could all contribute to the same document. The class ended, and I had already finished one of my slides. One boy only changed the color of the title, and the other 2 didn't do anything. 2 days later, I had finished all of my slides. Nobody else had done anything. I offered to start the script for the skit since I had finished, and asked for the others to contribute. Nothing. A couple more days passed. I had finished the skit as well, and all of the other slides were still empty. Finally, the night before the assignment was due came, I had hoped that even a title had been added. The slides were still empty. I finally decided to just finish it myself. I was up until about midnight. And the slides were not the best quality. Finally, presentation day comes. Of course. My groupmates felt absolutely no remorse for doing no work. It was our turn to present. And my groupmates nominated me to present. I finally decided to show them the consequences of their actions. I told them that we were all to present the slides we were supposed to work on. They obviously didn't know what they were doing and were extremely unprepared. My grade went down. But theirs went down even more. I told them that we were all to present the slides we were supposed to work on. You should have said instead each one presents the slides they worked on. Then, do all the presentation yourself and tell the audience in the end. And now my groupmates will present their work. Step aside and look into their eyes dead cold and wait like everyone else for them to talk. I once worked for a startup company. And they missed one of my paychecks. It wasn't a gigantic deal to me because they were a bit strapped for cash and we had a big release coming soon. And I was decently paid anyway. So I just said duck it. They then fired me 2 days before release. Making it sound like I had been inadequate despite zero indication from them that I was such before that day. So I made the proper legal arrangements to recoup my missing paycheck and told them I'd be going to labor and industry. I had already filed a complaint, because if they were going to fire me after I worked 70 hours a week for over a month to try and meet their deadline, out of nowhere, I sure as duck wasn't going to cut them the slack of an entire paycheck. I got my paycheck. They went out of business because they were corrupt and had been misusing investor funds for years before this unbeknownst to me. And I laughed my way to the bank. If a company, especially a startup, misses a check, that's a huge sign something is wrong. Like holy shit. We don't have enough money to make payroll. Wrong. When I was stationed in Korea, my sergeant threatened to tell command I was drinking underage. Fortunately I had pictures of our squad drinking and he was present, so I told I would show them to command if he told on me. Duck kitten by the books and co's. When I was in Korea, my company commander and first sergeant found me in the bars on my first day in the company and I was still 19. We shook hands, bought each other drinks and had a good time. My grandma lived on a main road in Miami. She had grapefruit trees in her yard that grew huge grapefruits. When I was little, my older brothers taught me to roll the grapefruits out into traffic and watch them splat as the cars drove by. They couldn't see where the fruits were coming from because we hid behind the bushes to launch them. It was kinda like reverse Frogger. The goal was to get a good splat. When I was 15, Grandma's health was declining. So my family stayed at her house for a couple days to get it cleaned out and ready to sell. I decided it would be fun to take my younger brothers out and show them grapefruit splat. After about 10 minutes of us hurling double-digit grapefruits out into traffic, one of us rolled a big, fat grapefruit right in front of a cop car without paying attention. We all ran to the backyard. But when I looked out front, my youngest brother Barry was still out there. Apparently he froze up. I come walking up hurriedly to the police officers and tried to play it off. What seems to be the problem? Officer? I asked. Who are you and where are this boy's parents? He asked. I replied I'm his older brother. My parents are at the grocery store. So I'm babysitting until they get back. The cop was super chill and goes, okay. Well, your brother was rolling grapefruits out into traffic. So we just stopped to explain to him why that's dangerous. I looked over to Barry and winked to let him know that we were about to be off the hook, and I said to the cop, I'm so sorry. I'll make sure to have a talk with him and it won't happen again. Well, Duck and Barry misread my wink as a taunt. So he looks up at the cops and goes, he's the one who showed us how to do it. He ran away when you stopped. And my dad's not gone. He's inside. The cop looks down at me with a huge grin and says, let's go see dad. I proceeded to get a huge ass kicking for bringing my brothers into something dangerous. Then grounded for lying to the cops. I never laughed so hard in my life. That cop had to have been a father or an older brother because he knew you were ducked. That's why he had that shit-eating grin on his face. I worked at Geek Squad at a failing Best Buy. One day, A service order I had created was shown to me by a coworker. Hey, looks like you made a mistake here. You check this box. But that doesn't make sense given what they brought the PC in to be repaired for. Me. Yep. Sorry. I meant to check this other box here. Let me fix it. Another coworker. Hey. Can I see that before you fix it? She takes it. Walks over to the copier. Makes a copy of it. Hands the original back to me. Disappears to the back with the copy. Puzzling. Suspicious. Her and I were cool. Always got along great. Worked well together. Later on. I quizzed her on it. Things aren't going that shitty for us yet. But they will get there. Trust me. You should be doing the same thing. Document every single mistake you can find on literally anyone you can. You're going to need it. So I started doing the same. I had a hidden folder stashed somewhere. Copies of other people's simple mistakes that happen all the time. Forgot to get a signature on this. Skipped a step on that. Checked the wrong field on a form. But they couldn't fire anyone in Geek Squad without firing everyone else they had dirt on. Hey Bill, can you explain this mistake you made? This is going to get you fired. Bill. While we're talking about this, let's review whom else needs to be fired for simple mistakes. Dumps out folder full of dozens of mistakes from numerous other employees. They couldn't exactly fire the entire Geek Squad. Or all of customer service. We shared the same corner/area in the store. They needed to reduce headcount but not fire entire departments. So we were left alone. Healthy work environment. Current job. Previous manager. I was on a team of 2. And when the lady I worked alongside with quit, they decided not to replace her. I have a young child. Who, as children so often do, gets sick a lot. Being the only person on my team, and the most important role for our office to function since it is literally the first step in all our processes, I had a very hard time whenever I used my PTO with short notice. I had given my manager multiple ways to fix the issue, but she never would hear any of it. She also was in a remote office, so she had zero clue what I did with my day. She finally sent me a very angry email basically telling me I could not use my PTO for emergencies all the time when my son got sick. I wrote back a long, detailed list of every method I suggested to fix the issue, along with the fact that I was the only person in my position for months, and that our company policy states in bold letters that using PTO because you or your loved one is sick is not only acceptable, but encouraged. My manager responded to my email by stating she would forward my concerns to HR and that I should probably polish up my resume. But HR was in our office that day. For the first time in 6 months. Great coincidence. Right? So I went in. Asked if I could speak about an issue concerning my manager. And explained everything as it happened. The HR rep had this look on her face like she was going to murder someone. She asked me to forward the entire email chain to her, which I did. Then she called me back to talk to her. A few people I talked to were aware that the manager and I had issues. And the lead of every team in our office basically told the HR rep that the entire office can't function without me and that I've been doing the work of 3 people for 9 months. This was somehow a very refreshing read. If you're Canadian, you've done this to your BFF while slipping on ice outside of school at least once in your life. Dad pushed me into the pool, but before I fell in I grabbed his arm. I did the same to a girl I used to work with. It was a cold, rainy day and I went to pass her on the dock we worked on and she gave me a shove. In desperation to catch myself I grabbed a handful of her shirt and we both went in. We taught sailing lessons and she had changed into normal clothes for the day. But I had not. Her reasoning for pushing me in was I still had my suit on, so it was okay. Duck Eugenia. I hope your drive home in wet clothes sucked. In 7th grade my teacher decided to use process drama to teach about the Holocaust. He told us we can hide anywhere in the building and if we successfully evade him looking for us, we will get a bunch of extra credit. Conversely, if we are caught, we will get 5 points for each other classmate we rat out. I hid successfully in the computer class under a spare TV card that barely fit me. My soon-to-be not friend had chosen poorly in the same room and was easily found. Upon walking out I very clearly remember him yelling, "Wait! Yams is in the corner under the cart." I can't remember being so mad at someone. Ratted out for a mere 5 points. I yelled at him and Def overreacted. The lesson being a process drama. That was kind of the point. To experience the fear and potential rage at your neighbors for ratting you out. For those of you who don't know, this lesson style is to give the student first-hand emotional connection to whichever content you'd like to teach. It's incredibly effective. TLDR, I was taken down along with a classmate and lost extra credit. We honestly need to do that more in education. Hands-on or situations like that are way more memorable and can lead to having empathy. It's something I fear we lack in first world society. Ducking like and subscribe.